Hey everybody out there in Little Wars TV land. Tom and Steve are here at the Naval Academy. Hopefully you checked out our first Naval Battle of Guadalcanal video last week. We figured while we were here filming the history portion of that, we'd take a look at some of the other monuments we found while we were wandering around the grounds and show them to you in this bonus video. The Naval Academy was founded on a 10-acre campus in 1845 by Secretary of the Navy George Bancroft with only 50 students. Up until that time, Congress had been dragging its feet for years on establishing a naval college. They had authorized West Point for the Army back in 1802, but there was still nothing for the Navy. Tired of these decades of inaction, Bancroft simply decided to start the school on his own authority within the Navy's already existing annual budget, without the approval of Congress. He picked the location because it was close to his office in D.C., was already owned by the federal government, and so it didn't cost him any money. Behind me is the Naval Academy Chapel, which was built from 1904 to 1908. And in 1913, the remains of the legendary American Admiral John Paul Jones were relocated. During his career, John Paul Jones fought for presidents, czars, and kings. He started his career, since he was a Scotsman, in the British Navy before moving over to the Continental Navy. Finally, he ended his career fighting in the Russian Navy. To the Americans, he was a hero. To the French, he was a hero. To the English, he was a treasonous pirate. I'm not kidding. This guy was serious business. He attacked Whitehaven, England, and in one expedition around the British Isles, managed to claim 16 British prizes. And all of this before he died at the age of 45.
You're 46. How many prizes have you captured?
None.
This is the Buchanan House at the Naval Academy, which is the home of the superintendent. Interesting fact, the first superintendent of the Naval Academy was Admiral Franklin Buchanan, a Maryland native. He went on to fight for the Confederacy in two famous battles. He was in command of the CSS Merrimack in the Battle of Hampton Roads, where he ended up getting shot in the leg and returning fire with a carbine against the US Navy. He then went on to fight in the Battle of Mobile Bay, the only Confederate admiral to do so.
Behind me is the bronze statue of Tecumseh. Cast in 1929, it's actually a replica of the original wooden figurehead that was on the USS Delaware, a 74-gun ship of the line that was burnt in Norfolk in 1861 to keep it from falling into Confederate hands. What's probably the most interesting to me about this statue of Tecumseh is that it's not really a statue of Tecumseh. It actually was intended to be a representation of an Indian chief named Tamanend. But when it was put here and the midshipmen figured out that he was a pacifist, they decided they'd rename the statue after Tecumseh, who was much more warlike. Ironically, Tecumseh actually fought with the British against the United States in the War of 1812. Now, as you can see on here on the base of the statue, this is a kind of central area where midshipmen will paint messages to family and friends. They'll also throw pennies at it for good luck during exams or before football games.
We're across from Prevel Hall. This is a figurehead of from the HMS Macedonian, figurehead of Alexander the Great. It was taken during an October battle of 1812 by the US Navy after a 2-hour fight with the British. Casualties were high, about 100 out of 200 sailors on the British side. The monument was restored a couple years ago with a new bust.
Behind me here is Prevel Hall, home of the United States Naval Academy Museum. It has some really outstanding exhibits, so why don't we head in and check some of them out. This museum is a real hidden gem on campus, with hundreds of artifacts from US naval history and an entire floor of incredible ship models. As wargamers, we particularly enjoyed this museum description of the remarkable British model makers who, and I quote, were so far down the social totem pole that very little was recorded about them. Some things never change. But the highlight of this museum, making it a true must-see for any history buff, is one of the most famous flags in US history. It's the battle standard flown by Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry at the Battle of Lake Erie in 1813, bearing the motto, "Don't give up the ship." These were the dying words of his close friend and fellow captain, James Lawrence, who lost the USS Chesapeake in single combat with the HMS Shannon in a furious 15-minute duel to the death. The 38-gun frigate USS Chesapeake first served in the Barbary Wars, which brings us to our last stop on this tour.
The Tripoli Monument is the oldest military monument in the United States, and it honors 6 naval heroes of the Barbary War that took place under President Thomas Jefferson. The fledgling Navy was sent to protect the merchant sea lanes off the Barbary Coast in the Mediterranean. The attack the monument commemorates is the attack into Tripoli Harbor in 1804. The monument itself is sculpted of marble and sandstone and was imported from Italy in 1806 by the USS Constitution, Old Ironsides itself. It was first stored at first set up at the Naval Yard in Washington, D.C., where it was vandalized by the British during one of their attacks, and then it was eventually moved here to Annapolis.
We spent all day at the Academy in Annapolis and feel like we just scratched the surface of the history here. Thanks for walking along with us. If you visited the Naval Academy, let us know your favorite monument or landmark, and if you liked today's tour, like the video down below. And don't forget, be sure to join us next week for our next episode. Hey there, everybody out there in Little Wars TV land. It's Tom and
Sorry. Too much.
No.
Way too much.
This
too
is
big.
Me.
You can't edit that out.
This is me. This is me. And every single YouTube video starts with, "Hey guys."
Hey guys.
I don't want to do that. I refuse to do it. If you like touring around with fellow history geeks like us and want to see some of our other tours, be sure to check out some of our other videos that I'm pointing to right now. And if you'd like to see more of all of our types of videos, I'm told there'll be a subscribe button down here that you can hit. We'll see if Greg actually knows how to do that.